Welcome to another Wargamers Hangout.
Finally.
Yes, we're only a little bit late. It's fine. As always, I am Codex Dan, and with us we have
Miranda, Wargamer Girl, and we have awesome guests today from Advanced Manouvres. If you haven't heard of them, you should check them out. They've got really good battle reports. I appreciate their polish. We have Kevin and Herman, so say hello, boys.
How you doing, guys? Kevin Bashford.
Hey everyone, this is Herman. I'm Gaston on the forums.
Gaston. You play pigs. Yes.
I do.
I've been recently appreciating a love for pigs.
Oh, you should watch our videos then. I can mess with pigs on video.
I have been. I'm like, ooh, pig battle reports. I've been watching, and when you crushed P. Haley, oh, it was wonderful.
Crush P. Haley is so beautiful.
I was like, oh, pigs versus P. Haley? I'm like, oh, you're so dead. Like, you have no chance. And also I was like, what? What happened? Granted, I would have played this in our list very differently. Hopefully that wasn't Herman playing. Kevin.
No, it was not me.
Okay. But nonetheless, it was a great game to watch. So, yeah, Advanced Manouvres, I discovered you guys a while back, and it was just, yeah, the polish is nice. Like, you guys put enough effort into, like, you know, the opening screens and everything, and they're just fun battle reports to watch. And you guys are, like, up to date. Like, you bring out, like, the new casters and the new theme list, like, right away. And so you can just kind of see it in action and have an idea to see how they play. So that's really awesome.
That's entirely Taudark's fault. He is a taskmaster. He's cracking that whip. I think I painted like 2 Goraxes in a day to get them ready for the Arcadius game.
And that's the only thing he's really bitter about is the fact that I'm making him paint, not that he's actually having to play.
A pain in the butt, okay? I'm sorry.
Oh gosh, I paint like Jackson Pollock.
There you go.
In 2 days, in preparation for when I went down to visit Miranda in Albuquerque, I painted 6 razor boars, a unit of brigands, no, 2 units of brigands, 1 max, 1 min, a unit of slaughterhousers. No, I painted one of those while I was there. But anyways, I painted like a madman. I was just like, and I haven't painted anything since.
Brigands are easily the worst. Easily the worst.
They're not painted very well. They're like, you look great on the table. Well, we'll watch Miranda's next battle report eventually when that comes out.
It's happening. It's happening. You just shut up. I don't have a taskmaster. So, Advanced Maneuver guys, there's 7 of you guys working that channel, right?
We don't know, apparently.
So there's 6 of us that are the ones that every week we sit down and come up with what we're putting down for the week or what we're putting out and try and cycle through a schedule for next week.
Yeah.
But that's, I mean, we have a bunch of people in the Northern Virginia area, so we have a lot of people that come on regularly who aren't necessarily involved in the back end of the development, but are involved with the group. War Machinist 20012, Fort, there's a bunch of them, so, and that's just because we want to get a diversity of play, because how I play Trolls is definitely not how War Machinist plays Trolls. And so on. So we want to get a little diversity in that. And there's a lot of the Nova Nomads is a group that's in this area, and they're working with us to give us more personalities and more presence when it comes to the faction representation.
No, it definitely helps. How big is your meta out there?
It's actually a substantial meta. But it's not a meta that travels a lot. So I know with the Nova Nomads, they're up to like 30 people in their group, and then 2 cities up is the Beer Thralls, and they've got another 20 or so. So we've got a substantial meta in the sense of quantity of players, but not that many that actually get out to the national meta to be exposed and seen.
Wow. That's still really good. That still keeps a very active group going.
Yeah, there's actually a wait list sometimes when we go out to practice. They'll run 8 tables, and you'll get there, and all the tables will be full, and you put your name on a wait list, and whoever the next person is on the wait list gets the next table.
Oh, man. Have you ever dealt with that, Dan? Like in Canada?
I don't know. I'm really lazy when it comes to making my battle reports. I need to get so much better. People are like, yeah, let's play, let's play. I'm like, all right.
And when you go to the game store.
All right, someone's getting a little bit of echo here. Not sure who.
Don't think it's me.
Anyways, oh shoot, I had a thought and it went away. It went, oh yes, it's eggnog season. So no more chocolate milk for a while. Leaders of eggnog.
Well, say I've seen your show several times, and I felt it only apropos that on our first opportunity to be with you on this, that I go out and I pick myself up a liter of chocolate milk.
Yes! Yes!
Chug!
Yes. I think Herman, I think it's you who's having a little bit of maybe turn on your speakers slightly.
Sure.
But, yeah. Thanks. You're pretty good though.
Kevin, that was mighty. A little disgusting.
Oh.
He's our hero.
Something tells me this is going to be a bad
This is
night.
a very manly activity.
Excellent.
Right then. We have a topic today, I hear.
Do we? Okay. First, we had a comment from before the show started, and so I would like to get to those,
Yes.
just because those dedicated fans were there waiting for us. waiting. Yeah. So Ishiab011 says,
That's Sammy.
real question is, are there more video shorts of you and Miranda that you did, like the Princess Bride parody? I saw that one. I hope there's more.
Aw. No, just a battle report. Which you know is being worked on, but we didn't get time to do many shorts or anything whenever you were out here. We were really lazy when you came out, and so we kind of hung out and like acted like friends and stuff. So
Yeah, no, we just shot the breeze. We had a really good time. I think part of it was too, we went on a 10-mile hike like the second day I was there, and so that kind of just made us all tired, and we're all like, it's time to relax and prepare our bodies for Valhalla
it's true.
and the
And
drive
there
up
was
there. So.
And I think we also thought we would record more at Valhalla, but that is just a whirlwind week of stuff. So,
Yeah.
so skits eventually, but no, I'm sorry, Sammy, there's not really any in the pipeline at the moment.
But we hope to do more. Like, we have so much fun when we film them. It's just, unfortunately, we live so far away. If we live closer, obviously, we make tons more.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so on to the topic. So, no matter what game system you're playing, there's multiple factions. Sometimes there's a lot, sometimes there's little. Most of the time there's like a decent amount, though, if it's any kind of developed game with a decent meta. And so, at least in War Machine, which we all play here. Actually, quick question: do you Advanced Maneuvers guys? Do you guys play any other systems besides War Machine currently?
Armin?
Not in any real regular sense. I mean, I think we've all kind of dabbled into different things, like Malifaux. I kind of looked into Infinity a little bit, but there's only so much time.
Mm-hmm.
That's
So you absolutely have to prioritize with what you got.
Yeah, before we started Advanced Maneuvers, I was a polygamer. I would dip into every game that was out there and give it at least 1 or 2 tries, from dystopian wars to 40K to fantasy to you name it.
Necromunda and Chronopia.
Yeah. I had a long stint in Mordheim.
No kidding.
No, it's hard. There's too many good games to play, but then you just gotta pick the best game. That kind of happens in War Machine.
Yeah, you can totally tour them, but the level of investment just tends to be very high. It's like, oh, you want to explore Malifaux? Even that, with a small model count, you're still like, well, I'm buying this battle box, or this game box, I guess, and now I have to assemble them and paint them, and you've invested so much time, and then you learn the rules, and then you go to another one. It can be kind of exhausting.
Oh, and then the crazy edition change.
Yeah,
Like,
I didn't
everything
get
I know
very
now
much
is wrong.
until 2.0, so I kind of saved myself that.
Yes. Okay, so lots of factions. Do you just stick with one? Do you move around? For me, I like sticking with one faction until I have it pretty fleshed out, and I kind of know how it plays, at least how I want to play it. And then when I kind of have all the models that I want, there might be some other models, but I have no interest in collecting them. Um, and then I'll just be like, now I want to continue to explore weird things, or I'll see other people playing a faction that really intrigues me, and I'll start dabbling a little bit. And sometimes it'll grow, but usually it'll just putter out, and I'll go back to my main faction. And so far, I did a little bit with Scorn, and then I went back to Signar like really hard. And then recently, in the last year, I've been dabbling with pigs, and I should be making a pig battle report soon, because they're so hilarious and fun, and they seem like such a nerfed faction for so long. But then I've been like, no, they're pretty good. They can be really good. And so I've been having fun with them recently. So I'm going to go to a tournament this Saturday, playing pigs. Miranda, how do you switch around factions?
Don't do it! It's a trap. No, I am not like that sort at all. Like I take my time and I pick my faction, and it takes an awful lot to make me switch. Like I will stick with it through thick and thin, which I think is really good. On the one hand, financially speaking, you don't have to buy like so many models, at least theoretically. And then if you do run into like a challenge that you really struggle with, like this faction isn't really good against this thing, I do think you put more time and effort into overcoming it or finding a way around it, whereas people who maybe enjoy faction hopping more would be more inclined to give up on a faction too early.
What about you, George?
Evan, what do you have to say?
Well, I don't know if it's necessarily giving up, though. And I think a lot of times there is merit to faction hopping. I don't think it's for everybody. I absolutely don't think it's for everybody, because there are certain individuals who will learn the game better when they can mono-focus on it, when they can sit down and go, okay, this is my rule set, these are my stat lines, and I'll just ask my opponent what his mat and rat are.
Yeah.
The flip side of that, though, is if you are a person who learns by doing, sometimes you'll learn what a model can do or what its rule set are by having that internal exposure to it by doing it yourself.
No, and that's very valid. You can learn a lot about the other factions by playing them, but I also think you can maybe confuse more rules that way too, because you're like, wait a minute, does this apply? Do I have eyeless set now?
Yeah, no, that's true. And then there's also the other side of the coin, which is you'll get faction stagnation or gameplay stagnation. You'll have those individuals who are like, I've been playing this faction or this game for the past 5 years, and I just don't have the thrill anymore. I'm not excited about
this
playing
faction, this game for the past 5 years.
What was that, Herman?
I don't faction hop. I've got my one War Machine faction, my one Horde, so I'm kind of like the anti-Taudark. And it's less, just collecting them all. I do the whole faction. I got 2 Sunburst cannons. I got unit of Deliverers that I've actually used. And then once you've collected all that, you just start oozing into all the other things. I got into pigs because I had Warsh and Brine, because they happened to work for Protectorate.
Okay.
And now I actually have enough mercenaries where I almost have a mercenary army just picking up all the mercenaries that work for Protectorate.
Now, to be fair, Herman, you have played the other factions.
Yeah, I don't mind stealing people's things and proving that they're overpowered and mine's underpowered.
What, meta? Oh, please.
So there is, and in Herman's scenario, it's not a case of he has taken the faction hop in the sense of I've dove in and bought the models and painted them or put them together and I'm going to play them. He has gone the route of, and it's probably the safer and smarter route if you want a faction hop, of going to a friend and going, hey, can I borrow your models? Let me give them a whirl, give them a try. So that way there's not that financial investment, but you still get that other exposure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I always felt weird playing other people's models.
There are some people who are like, don't touch my stuff.
Well, okay, so, and Dan learned this when he came to visit me. I'm not always the most careful about my models. Like, I'll drop my tape measure on things frequently and stuff. Like, I love my own models, but I can't get too close to them because there's like little chips and stuff on them. So, because I like to play them. So if I play with somebody else's models, I'm really paranoid about like even touching them or anything like that. And the last thing I want is to be responsible for breaking somebody's piece that they put however many hours into. So for me, it always is like, I freak out on that more.
Oh man, the first model I ever fully painted and finished was Ahmed Raza. And I just finished it. I brought it to the store. My friends looking at it, and they're like, "So did you magnetize this?" And rip his arm right off.
He's the worst model to build too.
Yep.
But
Yep,
the
that happened.
design, he's like, "Look at me, I'm awful." I played with Amon Raza once, and that was when I was playing Who's the Boss, and I was playing Scorn. And my bronze back got in their deployment zone turn 2. I was like, ooh, mobility and everything. But now, with the new Xerxes, you got mobility and rush, and it's like, ooh.
Oh, Xerxes is table flipping. Just table flipping.
Dude, people are like, he's not that good. I'm like, what are you talking? He's mobility. And his feet allows you to just go anywhere you want. Anyways, I think he has tons of potential, and I flipped through the battle report when I think it was played with like bajillion Archidons.
Yeah, that's why he's table flipping.
I was like, what on earth is going on? Why do you own that many Archidons?
There's Archidon and the Rhinodons.
Oh, that's right, the Rhinodons were there too.
Oh my gosh.
That is our PG Pokey, and he is an avid scorer. Now he is another individual who has multiple factions, or at one point in time has played multiple factions. But similar to Herman and Menoth, he's very like Scorn is his shtick to the point he's got 5 painted Rhinodons. I mean, that's right there is a testament to okay, you're a Scorn fanatic if you have 5 painted Rhinodons.
Well, let me ask you this then. Was Scorn his first faction?
It was not. His first was Khador.
Oh, yeah?
Yep, he did a couple years with Khador, transitioned to Crix, and then to Scorn.
I've noticed most of the time Scorn is somebody's second faction. Like, I rarely see it where they were attracted to Scorn first.
Well, but as you can see with Pokey's example is that sometimes the first faction you start with isn't the faction for you. Like it's not the one that's your true passion, and you have to spend a little bit of time grazing around and seeing which one is your faction. Some people get it on the first try.
I mean, for me, I picked my faction entirely based on looks because I'm like, I'm going to have to be looking at these guys a lot. So, and it was like a year and a half later I actually got around to reading the books and the fluff in the background. And my guys are kind of jerks.
Yeah, they're kind of douchey.
Then when I was getting into minions, I wasn't allowed to pick up the Gators because I'm Cajun and they're Voodoo, and that's just too many stereotypes all in one. So that's where I got pushed into the pigs.
Okay. Fair enough.
Oh, I wish we had your camera.
I look like a normal person.
I know, but the facial expression.
Don't listen to him. He is not normal in any way, shape, or form.
I know where you live.
I know where you live.
I bet I can find out where you live.
Probably.
So the Menoth, Herman, was your first faction.
Yes. I was able to come in right at the end of the beta testing, so I actually skipped all that drama from the Mark 1, Mark 2 transition. And I kind of sat down and I picked the one that I thought was the best. And I looked at the rules. I was aware of it. But then I actually started my faction in the worst way possible. Battle boxes, I didn't know what those were. I just went out and I started buying models. I picked up Amon for my first Warcaster. I'm like, oh, this guy runs with Jack, so I'm just going to buy one of each Jack. And that was like my first tournament list was Amon, 7 more Jacks. Each one was different. It was like a Dervish, a Templar, the Fire Salvation.
Aww.
And then I wanted to balance it out, so I picked up Testament and Temple Flame Guard to kind of balance it out.
No choir?
They came around later.
And you're like, oh, this is how it works. This is
These
what
guys
makes
have
them
terrible stats. Why would I bring them?
minor.
Man, somebody needs to write a faction guide or something.
Dan, Signar was your first faction, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was okay. So no matter what game I play, I never get to pick the faction I want to start. But then it turns out to be a wonderful faction that I love. I think I'm very adaptable, and whatever I pick, I'm just there. But for 40K, that was my first. Well, fantasy was my first love back when I was like little kid playing with like Lego proxies on the floor with my buddy because we had no money, nor any desire to build and paint models that much. But we just loved the game and the whole fantasy aspect of it. So I played Wood Elves and Skaven. For what I can't even remember why I liked them. It was just like, okay, cool. But then when Matt and Dave started mini wargaming, I'm like, yeah, you play too. I was like, yeah, let's play fantasy. They're like, we're playing 40K. I was like, well, fine. I'm like, all right. So I definitely want to play Tyranids. And Matt's like, no, I got Tyranids. I'm like, okay, Tau look really cool. My buddy Danny's like, no, I got Tau. I'm like, oh. I'm like, maybe Chaos? And Dave is like, oh, I got Chaos. I'm like, what? I'm like, they're like, maybe you should play Orcs. I'm like, I don't know about Orcs. And it was just like, it was just meant to be, really. Like, I embody the Orcs so well. And I had so much fun with it. And then even fantasy, I have Orcs and Goblins, which is kind of like there, but I really wanted to click Bretonnia. And then just how things worked out with like Matt and Dave like offered to buy me a studio army. And so I was like, ooh, so I was like looking on eBay and stuff, and it just like the only thing plausible was Orcs and Goblins army. And I was like, all right, I'll play Orcs and Goblins. But I have tons of fun with them, and it's lots of fun. And then War Machine, I was like, ooh, I'll play Khador. Big Russian awesome Jax, that looks awesome. And Matt's like, no, I got Khador. I got tons of Khador. You can't play. I'm like, all right, let's play Krix then, because Krix looks cool and awesome. Little did I know I would have been a jerk, but I wanted to play Krix. And then Dave was like, I just bought this like amazingly painted army from some random person online, and he like had it, and he never used it, never. But he's like, no, I got Krix. I want to play Krix. And then I was like, fine. I don't know if I want to play Hordes. And Signar, they kind of seem like losers and jerks. I really don't like the look of them that much, but I'll play Signar because I know it'll get lots of views on YouTube. And I was like, ooh, lightning. And then I had tons of fun with Signar. And so it's like, for me, like, it was just weird how I chose each faction. It was like, it wasn't just like yeah, this is one I want to play. It was like, I look at the meta, and I thought about trolls, but there was already like 3 troll players in our meta, and there was only like 10 people playing regularly. So I was like, I don't want to play another troll player. And so I chose for the betterment of my local meta and whatever the situation. And then it just ended up being awesome for me, and I just enjoy it. But I'm sure I would have enjoyed any faction. And
So I was going to say, it almost sounds like you develop a love for the faction you play as opposed to picking a faction that you love.
I think so. I think I would love any faction, or there's like any number of parts of the faction that I would love. Although Scorn took me like, I didn't really have a huge love for that faction. Like, I do and I don't. I think I just didn't want to buy all the Praetorians, and there was like, there's too much infantry to buy and paint. So I was like, I'll stick to minions. Minions seem hilarious. And I was like, why am I playing Scorn? I just want to play minions. And so that's kind of how I got the pig. So like, secondary faction is kind of like, I see what I love and I kind of go for it. But my heart will still always be with Signar, I think.
So, favorite Pharaoh model that's been released to date?
Model? Like, rules-wise or like appearance-wise?
Yes, your favorite across the board Pharaoh model.
Midas.
Yes.
It's
amazing, like a bucket of KFC.
Midas is just, that's actually what encouraged me to play pigs, is that I discovered Bone Grinders and Scorn. I'm like, these guys are hilarious. They're like 3 points for a full unit, and they just get in the way, and they do hilarious things. They're really useful, and they're so cheap. It's half a point per model. It's like the cheapest you can get. And I was just like, well, that's amazing. And I wanted more Bone Grinders, but I was like, they're not, but you can't really, And then all of a sudden the Bone Grinder caster came out. A freaking Warlock Bone Grinder existed. I was like, and I was obsessed with Midas for a long time. And so he was my first love in pigs. And he's so janky. I love him, though. He loves Razor Boars. They just suicide. Just feed him those bone tokens. But Yeah. So minus, definitely minus. He's so funny.
It took me so long to get my head around, but he is so good.
He's great. He's great. It's just hard now because Carver is such like solid. Like with batten down the hatches, your beast can actually survive. And mobility, they can actually get somewhere. So Carver's so amazing. But then Arcadia's team is like, ooh, ooh. So, I'm trying to fit Midas somewhere, but he's getting pushed out slowly, and I don't like it.
So, question for you, faction hopper folks. Then, so you have your main one or whatever one you start with, right? Like, how long do you, when you start changing factions, how long would you say on average you will stick to a faction before hopping again?
Oh, for me, it's varied. Normally, if I've hopped to a faction, it is because there's something about the faction that I want to learn. Be its gameplay, the mechanics behind it, how it functions or how it plays. And if that's your goal, I really don't think that you can do any justice to that faction with anything that's sub a year's worth of play. I mean, you really need to give that faction the chance to shine, and you're not going to get that in 1 or 2 games. But at the same time, I've had other factions where I picked up a Krix army because I thought Asphyxius looked cool, and they got 2 or 3 games before I put all the models away partially because I own nothing but Jacks. And pro tip, Krix all Jacks, nah. Especially with the Asphyxius.
Maybe more Nebra. Maybe more Nebra.
More Nebra could do it. I've seen her do it. But it was a situation where I had actually gravitated towards that army because one of the models looked good. That's not going to hold you in a faction for very long if the only thing that drew you to that army was that model looked good. I mean, in that situation, I would have been better off just buying the model, painting it up, putting it on a shelf somewhere, or putting it on display or something like that. But I'm the type of person that I get one model, and then the next time in the shop, I'm like, oh, well, this model could go with it. And then the next time in the shop, oh, this model would go with it. And I slowly but surely, I'm like, where'd this army come from?
So what's more attracting you to another faction is like the possibilities of something cool and not, say, the frustration of what you're already dealing with?
I would be lying if I said I haven't changed factions because I got frustrated with the faction. Legion of Everblight was one that was that case for me, where I had got the faction, somebody was selling their entire Legion faction, and I was like, yeah, sure, what the hell. You've already done the work for me. So he ended up selling it to me, and I ended up picking up and playing with it, and I liked all the beasts that was originally what drew me to the faction. I was like, oh, well, it's a Hordes faction, and it does a lot of beasts really well. I love beasts. So, I picked up the army, and I started doing Legion, but it was a situation where I was getting frustrated with, I would be facing across the table, and there would be a prime example. I faced across the table, I had a Doom Reaver spam coming at me, and I had like 2 Scythians, Carnivian, Ravagore, and some other stuff, and I was like, I can't do anything about these dudes. Like, they're coming into my face and they're just killing everything, and I got frustrated with I could have easily probably worked it out and just asked for repeats, but I had gotten frustrated with its playstyle enough that I was like, nope, I'm out. Now I still have that faction. It's downstairs in my garage in a case. But it's not one that I readily go back to. That and Solus came along and played Legion so much better than me, and I was like, I can't be as good as you. I'm not playing that faction.
Well, thank goodness.
Scary
people who play Legion are actually Solus. Scientific fact.
And the ones who play Krix are just jerks.
I know, Rhett's the one with the Solus model.
So I think it's good to actually get the audience involved more in this one because it's a valid question, like how many of you guys hop factions and why? And Kurt Benedis, he's in there, he's saying he holds on for about 4 months, it looks like, before looking around. He asks, so have none of you ever swapped a faction simply to learn it and find a way for your primary faction to beat it? So No, actually, I never have. I wanted to, but I've never gotten around to it. Yeah, you totally had someone creeping in the background there, Kevin.
I actually did a Summer of Legion.
Oh, okay.
So they were, at that point in time, they were just very frustrating for me because they were 180 from Protectorate, completely different from how my army played. So I picked them up for a summer, ran them a few times, and ended up selling them off. But I think it really helped me out a lot, actually, to see things from their side of the table as well.
Yeah. Well, it probably helps a lot with the recognition because War Machine's so heavy in the knowledge-based side of it, right? So you need to know what you're facing if you're going to have a hope of beating it. And so it really helps to drill in those, I don't know, those rules, I guess.
Yeah, I've never swapped armies, although Gaston is currently desperately trying to have me borrow his Manoth to play Manoth with him.
But be my faction buddy.
But that for me, it's been more of a case of because I'm a collector, or as the group likes to call it, I'm the power hobbyist. So I don't ever really ever let anything go. Like I'll pick up an army and I'll just hold on to it because you don't know if one day you'll go back to it.
Dude, I'm like that, and that's like why I can't like collect too many factions. Because I'm like, well, I could invest in this going and buy and paint all these things, but then there's all my Signar right there, and they need love. I don't even play half the army as much as I want to, and so it's like, how can I invest so much in this new faction when there's still all this old faction I still want to play and experiment with? Maybe I just need to play more.
And I think the new no quarter tier lists have helped a lot with that as well. I mean, if you look at Knocking on Heaven's Door for P. Resnick, that opened up sunburst cannons in ways that people had never used them before. And now with the SR-15 rules coming, you have new things for these previous models, these artillery models that no one ever wanted to use them before. Now you have a reason to take them in this new list with all these new things that you might have never tried.
Whatever. Theodor's always had good artillery. Actually, so is Manoth. What are you even talking about?
I had to go up against that Sorsha theme force. It was like 5 mortar guns or something ridiculous.
I've tried to pull that off before. It didn't quite work out.
Oh, it was like turn 1, he blew away my monolith bear. I'm like, well, no greater destiny for me.
Yes!
Well,
I hate that monolith bear so much.
It's the worst thing in the world.
You can go burn in the fires of hell that he ignited.
Amen.
He'll walk it off. He'll be back.
He probably will. That's the problem. Oh man, so many factions. Yeah, as a Signar player, I'm just like definitely hate Manoth.
As a Protector player, I definitely hate Signar, so I think we're about
There
even.
you go.
The nice thing is I have high reclaimer, and you guys don't.
Siege. Yeah, Siege. Can help a little bit. Actually,
I have a good winter for that.
I played an amazing game against High Reclaimer with Thremo, with Nemo 3, in which I just dropped storm pods into the clouds and arced lightning like a madman. My feet turn, I killed... He had like 32 focus on him, I'm pretty sure. No, 23, that's what it was. It was 23 focus on him. And it was just like, I was like, aha! And then he just feeded and killed me because I was too far up. But I was like, I'm doing so well. Stupid High Reclaimer feet. Walking up and CRA me with all those Idrians. But I don't know. It was working. It was working. I just needed to keep him back or keep something up. It was possible for me to survive. I just needed to be a little bit smarter. I didn't see it coming back. That was my first time facing High Reclaimer. I was like, let's see if lightning can solve this problem. And it often does.
See, that's the thing I get frustrated with High Reclaimer is that, you know, it's a situation where you don't do enough damage, and he doesn't care. Or you do a lot of damage, and then his next turn is like, I'm just gonna sling spells all over the place.
We had a great game on video of High Reclaimer versus Reshef where he decimated my whole army, had like 30 focus. I'm like, well, I guess we're just gonna immolate you to death.
Mm-hmm. See, his problem is that he needed to have blood mark on your caster.
It just piss you off.
Immolate
like,
myself to death.
This is my whole plan with Reshef. Is I have like a void spirit / feral guy, or yeah, they just run up and I go poof, blood mark on your caster as soon as I can. My only objective. And then after that, I'm like, I was playing a Khador army, Butcher, and they killed every single model. Resheth was the only model left on the board, but Butcher only had 4 hit points, and he had a blood mark on him, and so he couldn't hit Resheth. And so he just crowded me out. I was like slinging spells at him, like even with full camp, I was still hurting him, and then he'd be like healing a little bit, and then finally he just kind of like crowded around me, and then ran Butcher away, and then just started gaining control points slowly, and then he won. I was like, get over here, Butcher! And like, no one could kill him. It was a hilarious game.
Yeah, you're from that seat of his.
Throwing a goblet at him.
So, Plarzoid.com asks, you guys have spoken mostly in the past tense thus far. What new faction would you pick up if you had the chance? I would pick up Khador.
No, okay, seriously, Miranda, if you had to, if you were forced to choose another faction to explore, what would you pick?
I like, the more I play Khador, though, the more I love them. Like, all the other factions, I'm like, yeah. Like, I have no love for Crix at all. And then, like, Menov play kind of similar-ish, but I would be curious about them mainly for being able to run more jacks. So maybe that one, and then everything else, I'm like, I don't know, maybe Circle? Maybe?
Circle for me, definitely. Circle seems like such a cool faction of like crazy shenanigans and not straightforward play at all.
Yeah,
and that if you play them standard, they're terrible. But when you start playing them all janky, then they start to become one of the best factions.
Become that jerk with the double soul stone unit, or not double souls, double shifting stone unit.
You gotta have double shifting stones.
No.
You could do Bradigus and have triple shifting stones.
Bradigus is a jerk. He's annoying.
But,
I love watching it play. I'm like, this is amazing. I love how this guy plays.
It's like a Rube Goldberg machine of death.
So maybe that, just for Circle, because it would be such a dramatically different gameplay style. But gosh, I would not want to put together or paint most of those models.
Yeah, armor is so much easier than fur.
Really? Fur you just dry brush, man.
Armor, I just spray paint.
Touche.
That's a base coat. I spray paint my guys silver and I wash them and I'm done.
Oh wow, like 40K, like mass infantry style painting there.
Oh, Taldark looks at my models and he weeps.
You're like, well, you've got 3 colors, I guess.
Sometimes even 3 colors is in question, Miranda.
Oh no.
Hey, they're different shades of silver.
I missed the shading on that part. The wash missed that part of it. It's 2 different types of silver.
For the not past tense, I am actually in the process of working on my next faction, which is these guys.
Da-da-da-da. Oh, you start off with like the worst unit
World
ever.
of Contents.
Is this Amethyst Rose Gun Mages?
Yes, I'm playing Mercs.
So what caster are you going to start off with?
I really wanted to give a go at Sturgis, and I have played 2 games with him so far. The first game I played against Xerxes 2 with 2 Mammoths and Tibbers, and got super frustrated when I couldn't do anything with his feet. And then my second game, I played against P-Scar and 28 Veins, or something like that, 25, 20, 30 Veins. And
so good against that.
I made the mistake of not using the feet at the right point, because I was like, I was only going to get about 10 Banes, and I was like, no, I need to have more than that. And then Scar feeded, and I realized the mistake and flaw of my plan.
Oh.
See, I will say Sturgis would get me into Signar because I love the way he looks. He looks like a professional freaking soldier. He's not like some weird, crazy, demented mad scientist or soulless ginger. Actually, he looks like a professional who's actually there to do a job.
and you can't keep him back. You need him, like, he's so useful up at the front, and so he's doing all these crazy janky stuff and teleporting around, and like I love the assassination runs with him. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get like 30 attacks against you. Let's hope the dice go my way. They're like 7's a hit, dice -7. I'll spike eventually.
After
buy 2 more attacks. Buy 2 more attacks.
After the Sturgis game, I decided enough was enough, and for the tournament that I'm going to this weekend, it's going to be P. Haley, E. Haley.
Oh, why?
Because I don't like friends.
Especially since I'm like going with E. Resnick Testament.
Okay.
How is E. Resnick?
I'm enjoying him.
Tell the truth.
I'm enjoying him. The past 7 games, I got 5 kills on turn 2.
What are you playing them with?
Gunline, Mercenaries.
All right.
Drop your defense, flare you, Iris can aim, all of a sudden she's at 15.
Hooray.
Nice. All right, Herman. So you've been forced. Your mouth's been taken away. What do you do? Who would you play?
I can't buy them again?
No. I couldn't buy my Canada. Apparently they discontinued the faction or something awful.
Well, I mean, I have my pigs, and I really like the minions and the whole flavor, so I could always expand into gators. Convergence is also very tempting. Now I like fiddly armies, so just the whole, order of activations issues there, this crazy, this becomes this, becomes this, becomes that, and then hopefully it does something awesome, or it just fizzles out and dies. But that's very appealing to me, and their aesthetic is very appealing to me as well.
Fair enough. And then Dan, we don't have to go through you because you already said circle. So.
Kurt in the comment says, aren't all Signar players basically a faction swap anyway, since 90% of their models are mercs?
Oh.
I can't argue that point.
It's just pre-planning.
You know what?
A win.
I actually don't have that many mercs. Like, I still don't have Forge Guard.
Yeah.
I only have Min Boomhowlers.
Which is so weird because Boomhowlers are amazing.
They are. And Signar runs them so well. Probably the best.
What you really need is those Ogre and Assault Corps.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's your next purchase.
So amazing. I do have most everything else, though. I just bought Selena and the Miss Hunters, or whatever.
Have you assembled them yet?
Nope, they're right on my desk. I'm looking at them.
Yeah, good luck with that.
I will. I need to buy some, like, activator or something. Because, yeah, the current super glue I have just doesn't dry very fast. I just need to buy some cheaper super glue instead of the watery stuff. Anyways, it'll be good. But when I have expanded into mercs, like I have both Magnus themes, like I bought them off somebody, and I have like all this extra crazy stuff, and like they're good for fun games, but my heart is not in mercs at all. Maybe if I wanted dwarves, but that's just a big investment that I'm not really willing to make right now.
Yeah.
But mercs, yeah. Even though I have a lot of mercs, and it's easy to switch over. I have no desire to play a lot of mercs.
I think one of the things that's the most intriguing about that faction, though, is the wide breadth of aesthetic differences. There's everything from cephalics to pirates to dwarves to Magnus, who's a very bad mercenary, I guess, losing his limbs. And you just have such a broad range of things that you can collect in just one army.
That is true.
Yeah, and the way the contracts work when you're playing mercs, it gives you the ability to play, really, if you think about it, 3 or 4 different types of armies under the same quote-unquote faction title.
Yeah, unlike minions, the contracts work.
I have no desire to play a Thorfall Alliance contract when I have tier lists.
Oh, man. You need to advance to floor 38 models. And then you will.
Oh, no.
Nick Dumont says, I went Protectorate after starting with Trolls. They just get up and smash face better, and I'm not paying extra for that tough that never works when it matters. So do you do you end up comparing and contrasting a lot of factions when you do explore them? Like, oh, Protectorate and Trolls play pretty similarly, except for.
There are a lot of similarities that you can compare and draw to, but I think Privateer Press does a really good job of distinguishing. Everybody has their core. There'll be certain elements and certain mechanics behind it. Trolls and Menoth both have that need to have support staff activations in order to bring their models up to full effectiveness. A lot of people do a comparable between Khador and Scorn to some extent, but I think that's more of just a trying to grasp similarities as opposed to identifying with the Army's core. And I think if we're really going to excel with an Army, you need to identify its core and make sure that that core matches up to what you're looking for.
Fair.
As a side note, I hate tough. I think it's a stupid mechanic.
It's pretty weird. I think that if you can survive an orbital bombardment if you roll a 5 or 6 is kind of ridiculous. But then at the same time, it's also saved me a bunch of times. So I'm like, it's fine.
Other game systems have similar mechanics. I mean, tough in comparison is akin to Feel No Pain rolls over in the Warhammer line.
That can be overridden if it's what, double your toughness? If the strength is double your toughness, you usually don't get one.
Yeah, it has there's more restrictions in that aspect, but it's that rule where it's 100% random. You can never control it. You can't modify it. You can't manipulate it. It's just there. It's unreliable, and it's one of those things where it can be extremely tilting by its randomness, where it can be tilting for the troll player because they're never making their toughs, or it's tilting for their opponent because they're always making their toughs.
Yeah.
I think it works better in like 40k or other armies when there's like a lot more models, just because it's just more dice and it evens out more. But in War Machine, when it's like each individual model is so important, and it's for so many different reasons, when you have that kind of randomization for that kind of game, I don't know. I don't like it. It has screwed me over, but it also has like screwed my opponent over as well. So it's gone both ways, but it's just you never feel good when the tough rolls are uneven, like one way or the other. Like as playing against or with, it's like you destroy a troll player because they made no tough, and you're like, well, I won because no tough rolls. Like, and you don't even feel good about the win. Or if they make a bajillion tough rolls and you lose, you're like, well, you made all those tough rolls.
I think one of the things about tough that can be playing into people's frustration is tough on casters. I mean, in a game where killing a single model can win you the game, and having to do 8 or 9 different activations in order to achieve that goal, to have it immediately nullified as if you never did those activations on a 5 or 6. I mean, that's just, I've seen people get thrown over about that. Now, I've also seen it happen where I've seen 6 tough rolls in a row, in which case both players need to look at that situation and go, yeah, there's no way this should be happening. I've seen troll players apologize for their tough.
I'm not apologizing for doing that to you with Carver.
So I think tough on casters is one scenario where it can be
broken.
I don't want to call it a detriment to a game, but
no, it can create a lot of problems because it's not a matter of just affecting how you run your strategy. It's like, well, expect to have to kill them, plan to have to kill them at least twice, because if you pour everything into just one assassination run or something like that, then it could totally screw you over.
Yeah. But then it's another situation where you just can't rely on it. Like, I don't know how many times I troll caster and I'll put them on the table and I'll be like, I'm sitting on 1 fury I'm not comfortable here, but I have tough maybe, probably not.
and I never assume to rely on it either. And
Yeah.
and Dan mentioned there are models that can, I guess, take that out. So there is that, but you always have to remember to bring that if you think you're going to be going up against a Trolls player or someone who runs Terminus or something awful. We have a new comment here. Sammy asks, are all the factions equal, more or less? Obviously, it'll depend on what and how you play, but aren't all factions somewhat balanced to make gameplay fair? Well, that's a very open topic. I would say War Machine is definitely a game where you look to break strategies, or you find the most overpowered units in a specific army. Subsequently, some combinations hit better than others. So, I don't know. I wouldn't say it's the most balanced game out there, but I don't know that it's 100% balanced. I certainly wouldn't say it was. What do you guys think?
I would say when they release things, they try to put that balance between, 50% is perfectly balanced. They shoot for 45 to 55. That gives you kind of a good range of abilities while keeping a little diversity in the game, a little bit of needed unbalance in order to make new combos happen, and new strategies, new tactics, but keeping anything from getting too far ahead, too many outliers, things like that are bad for the game. But I think they've done actually a very good job of making all the factions very viable. Obviously, whatever I'm playing is underpowered and whatever everyone else is playing is overpowered.
Well, yeah, always how it goes, right?
Yeah, I think Privateer Press has done a really good job about trying to make sure that the holistic level of the game is balanced. But I don't think it's fair to say factions are balanced, because I think the only way you can ever truly achieve that is if everybody had the same model units. They were just different names or different like gun mages and there was a gun mage-esque model in every faction. Then it would be balanced because everybody has gun mages. But then the game would become dull too.
I disagree. I think you can have a balanced game while still having diversity. But I think the real challenge comes in growing it. Like, the new models that come out, how are you keeping things exciting when you've got these new combos and these new abilities, and everything hits harder and faster this way, and it can leave other models behind until something new comes out to maybe help them. Like what you were saying with the no quarter tier list tournament. And so I think that's probably one of their better ways of trying to keep it balanced. But I mean, if you were to say, hey, what's the strongest faction in War Machine, where most people, what would you guess most people would say?
Crix.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not like it's not known that there's imbalance.
But I think the issue there, or the reason why people lean on Crix as the most powerful faction in the game, air quotes, is because the perceived lowered barrier of entry for them. They have a lot of high-pitting powerhouses that don't need super combos in order to pull off really good damage. Some of the other factions need a little bit more support ends in order to achieve that level. But I think every faction is capable of winning games and being top tier and all that stuff. So that's an evident sign that the game is balanced and the factions are balanced, so that there isn't no one. You don't go to a tournament and the top 20 tables there's 14 Crix players. Now, in your local metas, maybe that is the case because you're dealing with a smaller pool, but on the national metas, you're not seeing that.
Yeah. No, that's true. There's definitely the learning curve, I guess, to those, whereas Circle would be very high, and Crix would be on the lower side of it. But then as far as faction hopping, I mean, doesn't that mean that, I don't know, starting with Circle would make you more inclined to faction hop rather than starting with Crix?
I think if you're ever trying to faction hop to find the most powerful faction, you're doing yourself a disservice.
I will say one of the things that I've observed with at least having two factions and taking a break from one, going to the other, and then coming back, is every time I've taken the break and played a different faction and then come back, I've discovered something new. something I didn't appreciate before necessarily. I mean, the easiest example is, the last time I played Pigs before this go round was back in February, and I wasn't terribly keen on Brigands. Then I come back to them, and I'm like, wow, these guys, their shooting is amazing, especially when you start stacking with buffs. So now I started exploring how many different places can I put Brigands, like with Midas. Optimally I was taking a ton of Bone Grinders. Now I'm looking to do Calamity and Brigands shooting and just rip away tar pit units, which I hadn't thought of before until I come back to it.
See, I saw that right away. I was like, Brigands suck. I'm like, no way, dude. They're Brigands.
I'm slow.
Most people are like, Brigands are terrible. I'm like, I don't know. They look pretty good. I mean, they're at 5, but if you can just hit, then yeah. Power 12, there's nothing to laugh at range 10.
Especially if you can bump them with Helga.
Mm-hmm. Or again, Calamity with Midas, and all of a sudden they're Rat 7 Power 14s.
Yep.
Oh yeah. It's interesting though to see as on the national meta, these higher up guys, they play that one faction, they do really well with it, but they're not doing quite as well as they want to, and so they come at it from a different angle with another faction and try to win with that faction instead. And I mean, these guys play a lot usually and really explore it, and so it's not like this willy-nilly switch. But people I think definitely switch factions to be able to play better, to try to reach that next level of whatever achievement.
Well, in the top tier has a lot of players who play multiple factions for various reasons. Chuck Ellswick is a prime example of a top tier player who just plays whatever faction he feels like that event, and he plays them all really, really well. And then you have other individuals who have their onesie twosie factions, and then you still have JVM is a prime example of a person who has a faction. He's never touched anything but that one faction. So I think the capacity to be a multi-faction hopper or to be a mono-faction focused person exists on all levels, from the casual player all the way up to the top tier.
Yeah. No, it is interesting to see the spread, and for the people who can faction hop and just do really well with that, I mean, if you're a really good player, you're gonna still be a really good player no matter who you're playing, what you're playing in all likelihood. So. Yeah.
I remember last year's Game Machine Weekend, 2013, Pagani game with Kador, and it was like, oh, he's playing Kador. What's the? He knew what all the factions were going in before he brought his, and so he's like, judging by all this, if I bring Kador, I'll have advantage against everybody. And so he practiced. From what I understand, he can play more games than any other human in the world, just because his situation. He just plays so many games, and so. Yeah, he'd I'll practice my Kador list, and then I think he ended up winning. Yeah, just barely. I think his opponent got diced a little bit, but yeah, so it was just kind of it's well, this faction will work in this situation, and you can't really always call that, but being good enough and being familiar with enough of the faction because of how much faction hopping he did before allowed him to be able to have that diverse talent to be able to do that. So I thought that was pretty cool as well.
Yeah.
Pretty neat. We're kind of coming up on our hour here, so we should probably look at some closing thoughts.
Okay, how about this question? Final thoughts. What has been your favorite faction? Out of all the factions you've played, what has been the faction you've had the most fun with?
I want to see that in the chat, too. I want to see if there's a popular one.
Now, are we just talking about War Machine, or are we talking about all?
A moment for that to settle.
And apparently Dan's lost his voice.
Can you not hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear us?
Oh yeah.
So are you looking for our favorite faction in War Machine, or are you looking for our favorite faction we've ever played in any game?
Let's go with any game. Any game, because obviously, you're not playing the other game because you're not having as much fun with it now. But at the time, with whatever you're doing, what overall in the history of your wargaming experience, what has been the most fun you've had with a faction?
For me, from the power hobbyist standpoint, my most entertaining faction was actually when I was playing 40K. I played Chaos Space Marines, and it was because I was getting the gameplay that I wanted, and this was back in like 3.5, so they were a well-played, well-powered faction, but it gave me the ability to customize and convert and model, and because it was Chaos, everything was okay. Like, there was no wrong answer when it came to Chaos models. In the War Machine world, I can honestly say I've got about 2 years into the game, and I haven't yet gravitated towards a passion of any specific faction. I like Trolls a lot, and that's partially because Trolls was the first faction in War Machine that I actually took time to convert and try and make my Dire Trolls look like Oni demons, and make my Warders look like samurais and stuff like that. And then I also like the gameplay. I like the big medium bases running across the field and taking it on the chin and then dishing it right back out.
You are a super hobbyist.
I am a power hobbyist. But it doesn't prevent me, like, my passion for Trolls, or my interest for Trolls, I won't say passion, my interest for Trolls doesn't prevent me from wandering more. I haven't found the one yet.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Herman?
Overall, I'd have to say Malifaux First Edition Gremlins, because of that Pigapult. That thing was the most hilarious, ridiculous, broken, overpowered model in the world. I had one mission, it was deliver a message. I'd just load a gremlin into it, fling them at their, what were they called, master, and he'd just be like, hey, here you go, letter for you. It was amazing.
Wow.
I mean, they had, like, the little pigs could go truffling. Everything about that faction was hilarious and ridiculous and frequently overpowered. And War Machine obviously would be Protectorate for me. I mean, I'm 4.5, almost 5 years into the game now. With this one faction, I have not yet run out of ideas for it. I keep, finding new things that I haven't thought of, new combos to try to put together. The most recent one would be, we called it High Reclaim Yar, because it's pirates and High Reclaimer and going for assassinations that way with all of them together. And just the fact that I can keep finding new things in that same army is just very appealing to me.
Fair enough. I agree, actually. Like, I love Khador because I can always think of some other way I could play them. But then I also have a strong love for my Sisters of Battle army from 40K because I love their aesthetic. I love that they are very largely uncorruptible. Like, their story of their faith is, I don't know, I love it. So their lore holds a lot of sway for me.
So is your answer Sisters then?
It's
Or
both. I
Choose
played
one.
one. Sorry, it's both. You're gonna stay with that.
Fine. For me, I'm gonna have to go with Orcs, with 40K Orcs. Although at this point, I mean, I still have fun with them. It's just after playing War Machine for so long with the rule set, trying to go back to 40K, even though 7th edition fixed a lot of 6th edition crap, it's in the new codex. It made things hilarious for Orcs. It's still hard to get really excited about playing them. I get more excited about playing them because I know everyone else loves me playing them, and I kind of get that kind of inspiration, like, okay, I need to play more 40K Orcs just because I know how much everyone else will also enjoy it, and that helps me enjoy it more. But if it was like, locked in a dungeon playing with some friends and no one else saw it ever, I kind of moved past the Orcs, which is kind of sad in some way. But at the time when I was playing them hardcore, like working for Mini Wargaming, I was like making like 3 battle reports a week at least by myself. There's just so many games, and Orcs were just hilarious. There's so many diverse ways to play them, and so many awesome conversions you could do, and it's just, the lore is just hilarious. They're like, Orcs, I don't know why they exist, or really how. There's theories. They're really powerful. If they ever gang up, they'll kill us all. So we just deal with them for now. We don't know how to deal with them permanently. They're just there. They're a nuisance. And I'm like, yes, I'm that. And so I love Orcs. Well, pigs are coming up on the scale though. They're quite fun.
Yeah.
You excited for the meat grinder?
So excited. Although the Gator one is so much more overpowered, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I'm getting the meat thresher.
Yeah, you get used to gators getting the good stuff.
I know. But it's just like, ooh, it's like boost attacks against knockdown models or like small models, and then you knock them down, you get extra die damage, and just like with the it has some potential, and it's hilarious. Okay, there's a bunch of reservoirs spinning that up like a little hamster wheel. Oh, I think everyone was like, yeah, trolls are the orcs and goblins of the War Machine world, but pigs much more embody the spirit of orcs and goblins, I think.
Definitely. Well, there was quite a spread in the comments area too. We had Foreign Legion, like Cricks, Terrans, EverQuest trolls. Okay. So good variety. No real one sticking out. All right. Well, to Kevin and Herman from Advanced Manouvres, again, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate you guys coming on. And definitely check out their channel. It's really good. They're so much more consistent with battle reports than we are, and they're really nice quality. So, yeah.
Well, thank you very much for having us on. We do definitely appreciate the time, and maybe this is something that we can do again at some point.
No, sure.
Thank you all very much.
Yeah, there'll be a link in the description to their channel, so go ahead and subscribe to them. You won't be disappointed. Any final thoughts, anybody?
The only one I can come up with, honestly, is to dovetail into the subject is, if you think you are ready to jump to another faction, sit down and think of why you want to jump to another faction before you go into it, and actually give real thought to it. Because if you're doing it just because you're frustrated, maybe just take a break and go do Watch Machine for a week or two, and then come back and see if is it really frustration or is it time to jump to a new faction. Make sure you're jumping for the right reasons, not just frustration.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Frustration is probably one of the weaker reasons to change.
I mean, my point is just, this is your game, your time, your investment, your money. Play what you like.
Mm-hmm.
Play what you like the look of. Play what you like the background of. This is a game where you can build almost any type of army out of any type of faction. So go with what's pleasing to you.
Mm-hmm. But eventually, everyone's going to just play Signar because they're the best.
Yes.
Loyalty.
Or pigs. So anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, so 2 weeks from now. Last time there was a 3-week gap because, life happens. But I'm hoping to try to every other week we'll have a battle report and then live show. The battle report and live show. We'll see how it keeps up. So far, I've been good. Thanks for all the support, and thanks guys for coming on. I'll see you guys later.
Thank you.
Thank you.